sound is live, and we're live. Welcome to another episode of the MMA Degenerates. I am the MMA Degenerate. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we begin, please do me a big favor. Head kick that like button, uppercut that subscribe button, and as always, smash that bell icon so you know when the podcast drops. All right, so we have 2 fight cards to review, and then let's look at some news. All right, so first, we had PFL, and then we had UFC 267. Both pretty good fights, if I do say so myself. So let's start off with the PFL. It was on Wednesday, and we'll go from the bottom all the way up. So I got in there during the Jordan Young fight. Yes, that's where I started. I didn't see the Julia Budd or the Don Mage fight, but yeah, it started before I got home from work. But anyway, so the Jordan Young fight, Amari Akhmedov fight was a really good fight. Akhmedov, he's a former UFC fighter. He fought the who's who in middleweight, not the who's who in light heavyweight, but he still fought in light heavyweight as well. And he was really putting it on Jordan Young. You know, unfortunately, he tired himself out around the 3rd round. And, he got careless, really careless. And Jordan Young was able to stuff the takedown. He was able to grab his back, and then he was able to, finish him off. So, unfortunately, just because you're in the UFC doesn't always mean you're going to do well in these organizations. We saw that with Anthony Pettis. The PFL has some really good talent. So, Jordan Young's definitely going to be in the new season for sure. And, yeah, that was a really good run for him. He didn't do well in the season before. I know everyone gets confused with the seasons, but I love the PFL. I love the season structure and everything. But let's get to the title fights, because there were 6 different title fights, and there were so many. Some of them had to be in the prelims, which it's fine. But anyway, we had Rausch Manfio versus Loyak Radzabov. Now this was a pretty good fight. Rausch, he dominated the action for 4 out of the 5 rounds. Loyak, Radzabov, he did have a good 3rd or 4th round, but unfortunately, he got dominated in the striking and in the clinch work by Rausch. And it was a good back and forth. It was a contender for fight of the night for sure. There's another one that happened that I think was fight of the night later on, but this was a honorable mention for fight of the night for sure. And then we had Antonio Carlos Jr., Shoeface from the UFC, fight Marcin Hamlet. And this was a good fight too. It was very quick, 1st round submission. Shoeface he's a UFC veteran. He's been there, he's done that. He was never able to break the top 10, top 15. He was ranked, I believe, briefly, but lost it pretty quickly. But he did very well in the tournament in general and against Marcin Hamlet, because Hamlet's this up-and-coming guy. He's the future. I think he only had 5 or 6 fights on his record, and Shoeface has in the 20s, close to that. And it was just, you could see it. You could see that Shoeface knew what to do when Marcin didn't know what to do. But Marcin came out strong. He was very big. But Shoeface was able to put it on him, and he was able to rock him. He was able to take him down, and he was able to choke him out fairly quickly within the first, 2, 3 minutes, 4 minutes of the round. But it was a good fight. Next, we had Movleb Kabilaya versus Christopher Wade. And Chris Wade lost by decision. It was pretty unanimous. Movleb, he did what he does best. He's one of those Dagestanis that takes you down and grinds you out. His striking looked on point, and that was really what helped him get the takedowns was his striking. He did some diving for takedowns, but he also used his striking to corner Chris Wade and to be able to take him down. It was pretty boring, but sometimes you have these fights. But the next fight, the Bruno Capiloza fight versus Ante Delia, now that was a barn burner. That was a hard fight to call, to be honest, because there were so many back and forths. But Bruno definitely got the better of the exchanges in 3 out of the 5 rounds. So I think it was whoever gave it 48-46. I think that was the right score. It wasn't 49-45, the 10-8 round in the second round. And then the rest of them, he got 2 more, I think, whatever. But I'm not great at math. But no, but it was a great fight. It was, all the skills of mixed martial arts were shown, and they were rocking each other like crazy. When I thought they lost their win, they came back and just started rock'em sock'em roboting each other. It was just a crazy fight. That was, if they had fight of the night bonuses, that was fight of the night. And I hope the PFL, gave at least the loser a little bit of a bonus, because Bruno got the $1 million, so he's good. But I hope they gave Ante Delia some extra cheddar. That'd be nice. So that was a good fight. That was the best fight of the night. And next fight was Abigail Montez versus Clarissa Shields. And Clarissa Shields is the professional boxer. She, if you don't know, she has 2 gold medals under her belt within the last 10 years. So she's really good. And she fought once 6-7 months ago, 3 or something like that. And it wasn't that good. She was... she didn't have the distance down. She was still hitting her opponents with good shots and doing well, but she would always fall into the clinch. And luckily, she was able to TKO the last opponent, but with Abigail Montez, she wasn't able to do that. Abigail was able to control the action. Clarissa would hit her with some good shots, but then Abigail would be able to get the clinch. In the first round, I would give it to Clarissa. It was a split decision, so I see how they could give her one of the other rounds as well, because she did hit Abigail with some good shots, but it was weird. So in the first round, I definitely gave it to Clarissa. She hit her with some good shots. Abigail pushed her up against the fence, but didn't do anything mind-blowing. Clarissa's shots definitely affected Abigail more than Abigail pushing Clarissa up against the fence. So that's first round for Clarissa. But then Abigail, she got the takedowns in rounds 2 and 3 halfway through the round. Clarissa would hit her with a couple good shots, but then Abigail would get the takedown. And in the second round, she didn't do much with it, but she still took her down. She still was able to control her and beat her up. So that one was kind of in the air, but I still gave to Abigail based on the fact that her dominance on the ground was more dominant than Clarissa's striking before she got taken down. But the third round especially, I know Abigail won. Everyone should have given that to Abigail because she had mount. She was hitting her with hard shots and it was, again, halfway through the round, Clarissa got taken down. The problem with Clarissa is, and I know it's her second fight, I'm not roasting her, but the problem is she needs to find that distance, because mixed martial arts distance is different than boxing distance. In boxing distance, you clinch up, and then they'll separate you pretty much immediately. But in MMA, you got to fight out of it. Or if it's a stalemate, for maybe after a minute or more. So you can't waste that time on the cage. Every time you get clinched up, you can't wait a minute for them to call to break it up. You have to be able to get out, and she wasn't really able to. And when she had opportunities to, she didn't. She tried to work in the clinch. And I get that she wants to, practice makes perfect, and implementing it makes you even better. But she should have pushed off and thrown some strikes. Maybe thrown her some strikes, then clinched her up again and try to use her advantageous position to do well in the clinch, not try to get in the clinch and have her get turned around like she did and then taken down. So, I understand she's, just starting out, and she did a good job. She did better with the distance when she didn't, it took them longer. Before in the first fight, she was getting clinched up a lot, and it was a sloppy fight, but she was able to gut it out. But this one, she was able to use more of her striking to her advantage, but the caliber of the fighter was better, so she was controlled more. So, she'll do well. She's driven. She's an Olympic athlete. I'm sure the PFL is going to have her again in a special, the next time they have a card. I would say if I was her, I would take 6 months off, just work on my clinch work on my distance, and work on get-ups. That's what I would do for 6 months straight, every day. I would work on the distance, using kicks and using punches better, and I would work on clinching and getting out of the clinch and getting up from the bottom position. Start off in mount, start off in every position, and work your way back from there. And work on the guard too, because if you have a good guard, they won't want to take you down. So, she'll do fine. But yeah, the co-main event, Ray Cooper III versus Karimov for the welterweight title. That was a good fight. Ray Cooper III is showing that he's more patient. When he's a good fighter, he's a great fighter, he's UFC caliber fighter, but he's not stuck, but he's in this position where, like Kayla Harrison is, which we'll go over in a minute, he's so good, he could keep on winning these. But he's not as crazy of a talent as Kayla Harrison is, but he can do very well in here. He can win at least 2 or 3 more, I guarantee it, because he's evolving. He's not just brawling. He's like with Magomed. He was patient. He got takedowns, and Magomed did fire back. In the 3rd round, Magomed was lighting him the fuck up. But Ray Cooper was able to gut it out. He was able to back him up, and he was able to hit him with some good shots. He hit him with a right, kind of rocked him. He faked the left, hit him with another right. It was a crazy knockout. It was so good. So good. So Ray Cooper III is great. And our main event of the night, Kayla Harrison versus Taylor Cuardado. So Kayla Harrison beat the brakes off this girl. She, with Kayla, we don't see a lot of her striking. I really want to see her against a really good striker like a Holly Holmes, or someone who could stop her takedowns and hit her. Maybe like a good boxer with great, technical wrestling and good clinch work. Because, these girls, they fall into Kayla's lap. She takes them down, arm bars them, or pounds them out. And we didn't see a lot of her striking. I want to see how she's grown. She doesn't look bad. Like the seconds she was on the feet and throwing shots, she was keeping her hands up. She was throwing straight shots mostly, not a lot of loopy shots. She was just throwing shots, biding her time, waiting for the girls to come in and take her down and try to just come in within the ability to her to grab them. So as long as they're close enough for her to grab them, she's good. Ronda Rousey would kind of bull rush you. They would kind of come in and, try to take you down. Kayla is a little more cerebral and a little better at the striking department than Ronda Rousey was. So, she defeated her handily. She got, Taylor down in the 2nd round, and Taylor turned the wrong way, and she just grabbed the arm, quick, lickety split. So, with the PFL, what's next for them, to be honest, they do the tournament system with they have the season and the playoffs, which is the tournament, and the finals, which is the 6 or 7 title fights. So, we'll wait till next year to see that. But for Kayla, this is the last fight on her contract. And in the news, I'll talk a little bit more about where she should go and what she should do. But anyway, that's it for PFL. Great fight card. Great new talent. I loved it all. Some former UFC fighters won. Some former UFC fighters lost. And some homegrown talent from the PFL had some great wins. So let's go to UFC 267. All right, so we have... let's start from the top, and we'll go down from there. All right. So we had Glover Teixeira versus Jan Blackwitz. That was a great fight. Glover Teixeira, he was able to pressure Jan, and he got his respect early. He hit him with some good shots initially, which is what opened up the takedown. He got the takedown later in the round. And then from there, Jan wasn't the same fighter. He looked okay starting, but then he got clipped with a good, I think it was a left hand or a right hand. It was a punch. But people sleep on Glover Teixeira's boxing. He's good. He's not a kicker by any means, so, understandable. But he's a good puncher. And he was able to, hit Jan with a good shot, take him down, and then by the 2nd round, Jan really wasn't the same Jan as he was before. He wasn't the Jan that beat Izzy. He wasn't the Jan that knocked out Dominic Reyes. He was a different Jan. So he got submitted, and he got submitted quick. Like, he got hit, and he got hit, and then Teixeira went in. He got him on his back. He flattened him out, and he immediately sunk it in within like 5 seconds. Boom, he tapped. You could tell he didn't want to be there. After that 2nd round, after that 1st round, he's like, I'm fucking done. But he's a warrior, so he'll come out anyway. And so he was able to, he wasn't able to put forth any offense at all. and Glover just demolished him. I'm happy for Glover, you know. Glover is a great guy. He's 42. He won the belt. I don't think they're going to give Jan a title shot. They're, that's not going to happen at all. So, yeah. So who do we have in the light heavyweight division? We have Jiri. Yeah. I mean, Jiri is next in line. So he's number 2. All right. So, yeah, we have Peter Yan versus Corey Sandhagen next. Peter Yan did a great job in the last 3 rounds. Corey Sandhagen came out in the first 2 rounds and was doing so well. But then, things change. It was those body kicks. Like, Yan was slamming his leg into that body for the first 2 rounds. He wasn't doing that well, but he would always end a combination with a body kick. Always. Or most of his combinations. And it paid dividends, money in the bank, as they call it. So he was able to not really hurt him, but he was able to slow him down. When you get kicked to the body multiple times, you're going to hurt. It's going to hurt. It's not good. If you ever gotten kicked to the body, a few of those and you're pretty fucked. So Jan was just able to take him from there. I mean, Jan has amazing boxing, but I'm surprised at how many kicks he's been using. I'm sure he goes to other areas. He lives in Russia. He has a lot of access to Asia, where he can go to Thailand and Singapore and all these crazy places in Asia and do some good training. And I'm sure he has. And I think he was training in Singapore or Thailand for a while. But his kicks are great. Hard, destructive, and, they definitely slowed down Corey. So, yeah, I mean, it was a good routing. Jan is a great fighter, and he was messing up Aljo till the DQ, and I think he's going to beat Aljo next. I mean, Aljo's definitely next. If Aljo can't fight, they're going to put in TJ Dillashaw. So, if Aljo fights, he's going to lose probably. If he fights TJ Dillashaw, that's a tough one. That's a toughie. Jan has the better striking, but TJ's striking is really good. He used to be just a grappler, but his striking is pretty spot on. And he has the grappling aspect as well. He's a really good grappler. So he's more complete than Jan. And I think he's almost as good in the striking as Jan. So he could give Jan some problems. Peter, sorry. I said Jan twice. But he could give Peter some problems. Well, Peter Yan, yeah. So, that'll be a fun fight when it happens. All right, next we had Islam Makachev fought Dan Hooker. So Islam is ranked in the top 10 somewhere, and Dan Hooker is ranked number 6, or he might be number 5. But anyway, he beat a legit contender with Dan Hooker. I know he had a month in advance, but I'm sure Dan Hooker was in good shape, and you don't need more than a month to game plan. You shouldn't for more than a month, because your fight camp should mainly consist of you getting in shape and then game planning for a few weeks, maybe a month, maybe 6 weeks, but no more than 6 to 8 weeks. So he may have had a little less time than he might have liked, but he had enough time to do so, and it was a month in advance, so I could understand why, people could give excuses, but I'm sure Dan Hooker has no excuse. Islam just took him down, and excuse me. Islam just took him down, and he was able to just, destroy him. He got him in a crazy Kimura. I knew when he took the side control and then he stepped over and grabbed the arm, I knew it was over, at that point. So, Dan Hooker protested, but that thing was about to snap. I looked at it and it was moving, and it was almost up all the way, and then that's when the ref stopped it. I didn't hear Dana bitch about it. I don't know if Dan Hooker bitched about it, but he could go to the commission and say, hey, that was bullshit. The UFC runs the commission in Abu Dhabi, I'm pretty sure, and I think they would deny him pretty immediately. But it was a good fight. Islam deserves a top 5 guy or the title. He wants the title. I could see them giving him the title, though, because Colby Covington and them are going to fight, and then Leon Edwards and Jorge Masvidal are going to fight. So depending on if the champ can fight the winner of Jorge Masvidal versus Leon Edwards, if he can't, then Islam is probably going to fight. Oh, wait, no, that's welterweight. Lightweight. Oh, okay. So Dustin Poirier, God, I'm fucking stupid. Dustin Poirier is fighting what's his name, Charles Oliveira, for the lightweight title. So they're probably going to give Islam whoever wins that one for sure. I don't see them not giving it. They see Dagestanis are the future, and they won him in that title contention spot. That's why the Dan Hooker fight was so good for him. All right. Next we had Alexander Volkov versus Marcin Tabora. That was a good one. Marcin, he really tried to, implement his game plan. Alexander Volkov is 6'7". He's got an 80-something inch reach on, him. And he's really good. He's a really good striker, and he just kept Marcin Tabora back. Marcin Tabora kept on charging him, kept on trying to cut the angles, kept on trying to clinch him and take him down, but he didn't really have much success. Someone gave him one of the rounds. I wouldn't even give him one of the rounds, but, I digress. But it was a good fight. It was kind of boring, but it was very technical, The next one, Hazmat Shamaya versus Liang, was not boring, actually. It was very, very interesting. So an interesting stat. Hazmat, I don't even think he threw a shot, or he might have thrown one punch, took Liang down, held him down, and he picked him up, brought him over to Dana White, and started yelling about how it's his division and blah, blah, blah. And then he choked him out within 3 minutes. So Liang is ranked number 11, I believe. Yeah, he's ranked number 11. So, he could fight, now Chimaev is going to be number 11. And he can fight Jeff Neal. That's a good fight. Ponzinibbio, Sean Brady, Daniel Rodriguez would be a fun fight. Daniel Rodriguez would get his ass whooped, I think. But it would be a fun fight. Or Neil Magny. Jorge's already fighting someone. Michael Chiesa might fight him. That'd be a good fight. But I don't think that Michael Chiesa would. So definitely Jeff Neal. Definitely Sean Brady. That'd be a fun fight. Him and Sean Brady would be a good fight. Because Sean Brady's so good with submissions and he can do it off his back. That might be something, Chimaev might get caught in. We shall see. All right, so the last fight on the main card was the Magomed Ankalaev fight versus Volkan Ozdemir. This was a good fight. I was very surprised. Magomed had extremely good striking. He kept Ozdemir at bay, and Ozdemir was kind of gun-shy because he was getting taken down and he was getting beat. He kept on getting hit with a left hand coming in, and it just totally changed the fight for him, and he just couldn't get anything going. So Ankalaev did a really good job, and Ozdemir is ranked, I think he's ranked, I don't know if he's ranked, I think he's ranked number 7 or 8. No, Ankalaev is ranked number 7, and he's ranked number 8. Okay. So, Thiago Santos? Oh, Anthony Smith. That's a good one. I think Ankalaev should fight Anthony Smith. That would be a dope fight. That would be a really good fight. Anthony Smith would probably get taken down, beat up, possibly submitted, but I wouldn't trust him to lose. You never know with Anthony Smith. But Ankalaev probably would beat him. And Anthony would welcome a challenge like that. All right, so in the prelims, there were a lot of decisions. One thing I do want to talk about is the Alessio Zaleski dos Santos fight and the Benoit Saint Denis fight. So yeah, I'm with literally everyone under the sun thinks that ref should never ever officiate a mixed martial arts fight again. It was ridiculous how much punishment he let, Benoit take. Benoit took so much punishment. And Then he had a crazy thing where he took a point off. Like, come on, man. You took a point off for one groin shot. Accidental. Usually, and I'm for it, one warning. And then you take a point off. And that could be a verbal warning where, like, if he goes like that and you say, watch the fingers, that could be a warning. But the point is, that was really shitty officiating. And it took away from Alessio Dos Santos' win because everyone's talking about that. And he did a great job. Benoit took so much punishment. That should have been over in the first or the second round, either one. But Benoit came back strong. And he's a fighter. And he's going to get, he's probably going to get a bonus for that. And that should have won fight of the night because Benoit really deserves some extra money for the brain trauma he received. That should have been, he needs $50,000 from Dana just to like be able to like put in a trust fund. So when, when he has CT, when he's older, he has like money saved up or something, because that was just disgusting what happened. The Leron Murphy, Marquand Akamiri fight, that was a good one. That was a really good one. That knee, Marquand went for a takedown and just got blasted. But yeah, I mean, overall, good fight. Good fights. Overall. All right, so let's get to the news. We have a few good ones for you. All right, so a few fight announcements. First, we have Jake Paul versus Tyson Fury set for December 18th. It's really funny because Tyrone Woodley got that tattoo and Jake Paul screwed him over. I knew he was trolling him. But I will say this. I don't like Jake Paul as a person. I think he's fucking boxing up a lot. But I do like how he's bringing awareness for fighter pay. And if they set up some sort of fighter union, I hope that he actually works with that union because he's a big voice. People listen to him. And I do like the path he's taken. Tyson Fury's 4-0 as a boxer. He's fought tomato cans just like Jake Paul, so they're at similar levels. And plus, Tommy Fury, he's been living with boxing his whole life. He's been training with his dad his whole life, I bet. So he's a good boxer, I'm sure. I haven't seen him fight, but I'm sure he's a decent boxer. And Jake Paul's a decent boxer, and this is starting to get more towards the realm of normality because this was Showtime now. This isn't, Triller where they have these freak show fights. I'm sure Showtime told him, said, look, dude, you're going to have to fight some real boxers, and that's what he's doing. All right, Calvin Keator versus Giga Tricasia is going to headline on January 15th. Nice. That's going to be a fun fight. They're both strikers. It's going to be a fun striking battle. Calvin Keator might mix in some more wrestling. Giga is going to try to kick the crap out of him. And then Calvin Keator is going to, move forward. And Calvin Keator's pretty high up there in the rankings. I believe Calvin Keator is number 5. Yeah, he's number 5. Giga said he wanted the title. That's what he said. And, I'm like, definitely not. Dana White's like, definitely not. He said, but a number 5 ranked guy, not fucking bad. You be Calvin Keator, I guarantee you, your name will be one of the names they think of for the next title shot after if Max Holloway wins. So that's a good fight. It's going to be a fun fight. And my girl, Valerie Loretta, Dimey 5000. That picture's not great, but when she's not cutting weight and looking like a crazy person, like all fighters do, like when fighters cut weight, they look like they're like crazy crackheads. They're so thin. But anyway, she's fighting Taylor Turner on Bellator 271, which is on November 12th. Awesome. So, yeah, she is homegrown talent from Bellator. Dana White was just saying how Bellator only takes UFC fighters, how they don't grow their own talent. Well, she is a prime example of homegrown talent in Bellator. And so this is going to show if she's good. I don't know Taylor Turner's record, but if she can take this girl out early and quick and make it look good, then she's going to get a lot more fans. She's going to get a bump up in competition, and it's going to be, all up from here. She's on a high right now. So I hope she keeps going, She's going to be an exciting addition for women's MMA. So I'm happy for it. All right, so let's get into some news. All right. So we got Dana White addresses Nate Diaz possibly leaving the UFC, as well as advising Kayla Harris to stay in the PFL. All right. So Dana said, about this whole situation with Nate Diaz. He said that decision, which means his decision to sign with them or not or leave, is something he needs to make. Listen, for a lot of these guys, there's no secret about it. If you believe that you're one of the best in the world and you believe you can win a world title here or hang with the top 5, then this is where you should be. The minute you start doubting that is the case, you've got to start looking at other options. And then he goes to discuss Dos Santos, and he talks about how, blah, 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 money, nothing to do with Nate Diaz. So then he says there's tons of other places you can go and fight where you can make a lot of money. A lot of these guys, once they've built and established their name here, they move on to these other promotions and make crazy money. And good for them. That's just how it works. And he says, as far as Nate Diaz goes, I don't know where Nate Diaz feels he is right now and what he feels his future could be if he signs another 4 or 5 fight deal here. So pretty much, he's got 1 fight left on his record. I think he's going to fight Conor McGregor, and if he feels like he wants to stay there, he will. But imagine if he fights Conor McGregor, and then he goes off into boxing, like fighting Jake Paul or something like that. He can make a fuck ton of money. A fuck ton. And, I used to hate Jake Paul. I still hate him as a person, but I can respect the fact that he knows how to make some money. And he's talking about other fighters making money too. So I'm happy if they're making money. That's all I'm happy about. I don't care about what organization they're in. Wherever they want to make the most money, I'll watch you fight there. Nate Diaz, I'll watch you fight a boxing match with Jake Paul and Triller, or with Anderson Silva. That'd be a dope one too. So anywhere they want to go, I'll watch them. I just love combat sports. And then he talks about Kayla Harrison, who says PFL pays her an obscene amount of money to fight over there. If I was her, I'd just stay where she is, picking off people over there. When you come here, Amanda Nunes is no joke. Shevchenko is no joke. Namajunas is no joke. They're the best women in the world, and these are the best female fighters in the world. So let's segue actually into the next headline, which is Kayla Harris on looming free agency decision. There are no friends in the business. So I'll read some of her quotes, and then I'll talk about the Dana White stuff that was said as well. He said, Kayla says, let me put it this way. I do believe in the PFL. I'm proud to be the face of the PFL. I believe in the format. I believe in what they're doing. And they've taken good care of me. They've helped me create a career that I'm proud of and continue to be proud of. But there are no friends in this business. The PFL is not my friend. That's not meant in a negative way. That just means that I've learned the hard way through life. There are no friends in the business. So it's not personal, it's just business. Just like if I ever fought someone, it's not personal, it's just business. The same thing goes with the PFL. I truly like the PFL. I like everyone who's sitting in the room with me. I like everyone I work with, but it's not personal. So she goes on to say, so that's just the manager talking about. So pretty much, Kayla does have a choice to make. I feel she should ride out 1 or 2 more seasons, make a couple million extra bucks, get more fights in there, because she doesn't know how she's going to fare against someone who beats her up. So say she comes, I want to see her get beaten up in the first round and come back and armbar that chick. Like Ronda Rousey when Miesha Tate took her down over and over again in the first 2 rounds, and then she armbarred her in like the 3rd round or, somewhere in there. I want to see that. I want to see someone strike her, hit her, hurt her, take her down, beat her up, and then she gets up, she fires back, she regains her composure, she takes the girl down, and she armbars her, or she pounds her out. I want to see her do that, because in the UFC, Dana's right. There are no easy fights, and she is used to getting paid $1 million a year. She's going to want at least $200,000 per fight, if not more. So Dana's going to say, okay, I'll do that, but you need to fight champs or top 5 people. And these top 5 people are no joke. Even if you just look at the UFC rankings for the women in like 145, because there's obviously no 55. So, you have the champ. Let's do 135 because there aren't even rankings for 145. But let's just say, she fights the champ. Amanda Nunes is crazy good. Holly Holmes is really good. Jermaine Durand, she hasn't fought strikers like those. What happens if she fights Jermaine and Jermaine just beats the crap out of her the first round and she can't recover? Aspen Ladd's a great striker. Misha Tate, Raquel Pennington, Sarah McMahon, the Yana Kuninskaya girl, she's a really good talent. These are some good fighters, and if she doesn't mind her P's and Q's, then she's going to, she's going to lose it. So I think she should, again, be the free agent. Not be the free agent. Stick with the PFL for a few more years. All right, so, multi-platinum rapper Wiz Khalifa open to fighting in MMA. PFL CEO says he knows who to call. So some of you might say, oh, this is bullshit, another freak show. Not necessarily. I'm a big fan of Wiz Khalifa myself, and for the past 4 or 5 years, he's been working out at Jay Glazer's gym. He's been doing jiu-jitsu. He's been, he's been working on his Muay Thai, and just to show you a little bit of what he can do, he's pretty good. He's not great. He's not great, and he's not going to turn any heads, but if he fought maybe someone who's not in MMA, maybe someone who's making their debut, like another rapper or a boxer or a kickboxer or something like that, who's transitioning to MMA, like a Clarissa Shields, I think he could do well. He's not bad. And this is him recently, like a few months ago, and he has good flow. He knows where to put his hands. He knows, like, when he strikes, they come back. And I've seen some of his sparring sessions. They're very light, obviously, but he does pretty good work. Pretty good work. So I feel that, he should, we should see how it goes. Give him someone easy and see how it goes. All right, so we have Clarissa Shields reacts to PFL loss, shuts down mouthy Jake Paul. So pretty much this is what Jake Paul said to her. He said, Clarissa Shields is a loser in MMA and has a prima donna attitude, talks about karma, and talks about how Amanda Serrano, who's the women GOAT, has 30 fights and 30 KOs and 42 wins, and is 2-0 in MMA by submission, and he's just talking a bunch of trash. So Clarissa, she answers back. She says, she talks about, she's, I lost a split decision. I didn't get my ass whooped. I also improved. All I'm going to do is go back to the drawing board and keep learning. No one said this journey was going to be easy. MMA is new to me. I'm fighting on a world stage with only 9 months training. So, and then she talks about, how she's going to be better. And she's right, she's on another level. Jake Paul isn't. So he's just trying to cause shit, But I just thought that was worth a little bit of a chuckle. And we have something light to end today on SNL. They made fun of Conor McGregor. So let's just play that.
And no one welcomes heroic psychopaths like Conor McGregor. And he gets them to open up the only way men can, while holding golf clubs.
So, Conor, why do you think you punch random strangers?
Right, it's like this. People say, don't fight. Use your words.
I can take you McGregor. Do it right now! Uh-oh. And don't miss our...
Yeah, so it's just, that's funny as hell. So, yeah, that's funny. McGregor, he's whenever he's not in a fight camp, he's punching someone in the face. Like, when he has nothing to do, he's like that kid with ADHD. His mind's going a mile a second. So that was pretty funny, but he needs to stop punching dudes in the face. All right, so that's it for the news and general stuff and fight announcements. So next week we have 2 fights. Bellator 270. It's going to be a good one, man. Patricky Pitbull versus Peter Queally. Patchy Mix is a great fighter versus James Gallagher. Don't know if Robert Finesca and Daniel Weichel's fighting. That's going to be a really good one. I'm happy about that one for sure. And, UFC 269. We got Kamaru Usman fighting Colby Covington. I see it going the same way, but even faster because Kamaru Usman's changed. He's gotten way better at striking. Colby Covington, we haven't seen him since that fight. It was over a year ago, and I don't think it's going to be any different. We got Rose Namajunas versus Zhang Wei Li. Hopefully, Zhang won't be like, oh, she make fun of my country, blah, blah, blah. Let's make sure the mental game is straight. Justin Gaichi versus Michael Chandler. So happy about that. It got changed. Oh, no. This is the one. No, that's not the one that got changed. But yeah, Justin Gaichi versus Michael Chandler. That's going to be amazing. Can't wait for that. I love Justin Gaichi. Whenever he fights, it's always a barn burner. It's always fun. And Michael Chandler, he doesn't have any quit in him, so it's going to be fun to watch. We got Shane Burgos versus Billy Quarantillo. Shane Burgos is a good fighter, ranked number 14. It's going to be a fun fight. Shane Burgos comes at you, so does Billy. So that's I think that's undercover fight of the night right there. And we got Frankie Edgar versus Marlon Vera. So we got Frankie, he's lower ranked, I think, Marlon Vera, but Marlon Vera is ranked a little below him as well. So it's going to be a fun fight, you know. Frankie is going to have to get in close, use his boxing and his takedowns to throw Marlon Vera off. Marlon Vera's got to use that kickboxing to hurt him on the feet. And it's going to be a fun one. I like it. And Ally Quintus fighting, Bobby Green, that's cool. Shabazian's going to be fighting as well. That's going to be fun. And Gian Vellante is fighting, and Alex Pereira. Now, some of you might not know him, but he actually beat Israel Adesanya in a kickboxing match. He's only 4-1 in MMA, so let's not, say he's going to fight Izzy next. But if he gets a good 4 or 5 fights in the UFC, then I can see him challenging Izzy for the title. So that'll be fun. And he's got a great kickboxing record. So yeah, and some announced bouts that'll probably be on there by the time the fights happen next week. Sean Strickland might be fighting. That's good. Melchik Bagazarian. Oh, he's so good. Melchik is so good. I remember Bagdasarian. Oh yeah. This is the kickboxer guy. That's gonna be fun. I hope it's on there, because I'll definitely be watching that shit. All right, so thank you so much for watching. Before I leave, or before you leave, please do me a big favor. Head kick that like button, uppercut that subscribe button, and smash that bell icon so that you know when the MMA Degenerates drops. Be safe and have a good day, everyone.